Okay, so as promised earlier in the week, we have got primitive firelighting and not so primitive firelighting, and we've got a bag of dried grass that I collected last week. It's been drying out in my car. In this bag is a bag from Sainsbury's. It's the fruit and veg bag. I found it holds the grass, it doesn't let any bits out, and it helps it dry out when it's in a hot environment like the car. So I'm going to use this to make the bird's nests for the char cloth, which both of these things use. So I'm just going to go through my tin first. So this is the old school flint and steel tin. So this is just a Love Arts food tin, sweet tin. Got a hole in the top, and as you can see, it has been used to make char cloth. Inside, I've got a little bit of char cloth, enough for today, and there's some in the fire piston bag as well. Got a steel and a piece of flint, which we'll use to make sparks, hopefully, as you can see, to light the char cloth. I've also got some amadou, I think it is, or some the horseshoe fungus, which does burn as well. I've got some cotton shirt ready to make some more char cloth. I've got a bit more char cloth, some spare little bits of flint, some jute twine which can be fluffed up to make birds' nests, and in here just some dry twigs just to help get the fire going if it was wet. So today all we're going to need is these bits, okay, and then this one is from bushcrafttools.com. A guy called Dustin. I've met him at the Bushcraft show a couple of times. I watch his videos all the time. And this is a fire piston. So this is using the same char cloth, but a different way. So you've got an outer tube, an inner tube. You've got some very detailed instructions of how to use the fire piston. I've got some char cloth in here, which I've made. And also you get a little baggie with the spare rubber seals, which you'll see what you need them for in a minute. So I'll quickly explain this and then we'll crack on. So this is known as a fire piston. So it comes in two halves, like so. In the top of the piston, or the bit that goes inside, there is some char cloth, as you can see, with a tube with a bit on the end of a cutout and a rubber ring. This end bit does unscrew to squeeze the rubber tube in or out to make a good seal inside the tube. As you can see, it fits like so. At the top of this tube, you've got some Vaseline, which you put on the rubber O-ring to create a good seal. Okay, so what this does is this uses air to create an ember by superheating the air inside as you compress it to light a piece of char cloth, which is put in the end of the tube just here. So from what Dustin told me at the Bushcraft show, is when you push it in, if you push it in and let go and it pops back out, you've got a good seal on it. Okay, so as you push it down, it pops back out, you've got a good seal. If you haven't, all you do is just turn the end piece here to push out the rubber ring. Okay, so the piece of char cloth goes in the end. You then have another piece of char cloth ready to be a flame extender, then into your bird's nest, and then poof, up goes the fire. Okay, but you need that seal on the piston so it pushes back out for this to work. Okay, before we start, I'm going to do the not so primitive first, then the primitive afterwards. Okay, so I've got two bird's nests prepped. I've got some silver birch in strips ready to go to help out once the bird's nest is in there. I've got my kindling. As I said, always make sure you've got more than you think you need when you're doing these kinds of things, because it may fail, you may need to start again. Okay, so I've got two small piles. I'm not going to get it going massively. I just want to test the concept really and review these products, this product of Dustin's really, and this one. So the plan of action is we're going to take a piece of char cloth. Tell you what we'll do, we'll use the stuff from his actual kit. So we'll take a piece of char cloth from out of the end of here, rip a bit out, kind of squish it up into a ball, place the lid, kind of squish it up into a ball, and put it into the end of the metal tube, like so. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take some Vaseline and rub it on the rubber O-ring, like so. To create that seal. Then we're going to get another piece of char cloth ready to be a flame extender off the end of the fire piston. So we're going to have a quick tidy up, so that can go away, don't need that now. Put the instructions away. Put it at the back. Bird's nest ready, silver birch ready, and your kindling ready. I have got another pile of logs, sticks here, which is kind of the next stage up, but I'm not really going to get a fire going. So you need to make sure you've got that seal. So push it in, it should pop back out. So what you do now is you pop it in, and you need to push down hard on a surface to compress that air really quickly. Then the end should start glowing, that little bit of char cloth in the end. Okay, you need to be really quick, give it a good push down. It might not happen first time, but keep going and it should work. Okay, like this. Okay, that hasn't worked, so same again. There you go, it's worked. So take your flame extender, basically char cloth. As you can see, the char cloth is now going. So into the bird's nest, get it in there, and then, as we all know, add oxygen. We've got smoke. We have flame. Yes, it worked. So as you can see, that's gone out now. Okay, but there's a tiniest little bit of char cloth, and you can make fire with a little bit of prep. So that is a cracking bit of kit. Bushcrafttools.com. Okay, from Dustin. Watch his videos. I've met him a couple of times at the Bushcraft show. Really nice guy, and as you can see, a couple of pumps, proper setup. It does work, so I'm really happy with that. I'll just let that go out. Keep that in there. I will throw some water underneath it in a second once it's gone out. But yeah, really happy with that. And first try on video, which was really good. Okay, so that was the not so primitive. Now we're going to go to the primitive fire lighting. Okay, so flint, natural rock, okay, and then carbon steel striker. Hopefully when you strike on it on a certain surface, you should get some sparks. Okay, now the sparks from a ferro rod burn at something like 4,000 degrees. These ones, as you can see, they're a lot less hot. There's less of them. They're a darker yellow colour. They burn at about 300 degrees. Okay, so the way most people do it is they take a piece of char cloth, hold it next to it, and then try and strike down to try and get that one little spark onto a piece of char cloth. I've seen someone do it, I can't remember who it was, somebody was bushcraft wise, they had it in a tin or their lid of their tin, and they were striking sparks down onto it, so you've got a bigger surface area, more chance of one of them catching. Okay, so we're going to have a go. I've got my bird's nest ready here, ready to go. I've got some silver birch and I've got some kindling ready to go. So let's just make a nice little hole in the bird's nest. So we'll give this a go and we'll just keep going until it happens. If it doesn't happen and there's a little bit of a flick in the video, it means that we've been going for ages and I've cut a bit out. Yes. As you can see, that worked as well. So straight into the bird's nest. So you have got time, so don't rush, just take your time. Fold up the bird's nest, and same principle as before. There we go. Silver birch bark and a few sticks. And I promise you, that was first time as well. So as you saw, because there was more of a surface area, one little spark caught it. Then same principle, get the silver birch bark on. You don't need the silver birch bark, but I kind of feel that it works, that extra little bit of kindling, flame extender. Okay, that's it, flint and steel. So both of them worked first time. Doesn't always go like that, but it did this time. So as I say, that dry grass I collected last week and it's just been drying out for a week. At the start of the day, you could do the same thing, pop it in that bag. If it's quite warm, leave it on the outside of your bag to dry in the wind if you're walking in. Hang it up in a tree when you get to your campsite, so you've got some tinder ready to go if you're going to think about using these primitive and not so primitive firelighting. And always make sure you use some kind of tin to store this in, where you can use the tin over the fire in the coals to make your next batch of char cloth from the cotton. Must be cotton, so jeans or 100% cotton shirts, anything cotton based will work. Okay, as I say, this is just a tin that I've seen that was on sale in the local corner shop with some sweets from like Christmas or something, and I was like, that will work perfect. It doesn't seal or anything, but I just keep it in a waterproof bag if I'm taking it out. So that was it. Okay, so as promised earlier in the week, we've got a primitive firelighting, a not so primitive firelighting, and a bag of tinder, which is what I'm going to use to make the bird's nest out of for the